I suppose this video could be thought of as a slight correction to the ideas that I've been explaining in my past couple of videos. The last video I explained about how gay rights should be a part of our reality in our world because it's two individuals who want to do what they want to do with each other. And the last video was about state rights and why I disagree with that notion in terms of personal liberty, because I feel instead of it something being legislated by the state, it should be something that you personally decide for yourself. It should be self-governance. And the idea that I promoted in both of these videos is that consent is the ultimate point. And consent means you want to do it. If you say you want to do something with this person and they want to do it with you, then what's the problem? I've sort of thought about this lately, and I sort of came to one little problem that I guess I have to address, maybe correct myself. And that's how it applies to children. Because that's the question, can children really consent to something? One main example is when you're talking about the gay marriage and saying it's individuals being able to do whatever they want. Some people might, for example, correlate that to polygamy, saying, oh, well, what if it's 5 guys and 12 girls who want to get married together? I say if they want to do it, that's fine, that's their business. However, if it's a man and, say, a little girl, the main thing for me is that a little girl, a child, is incapable of really consenting, in my opinion. And by consent, I mean saying that they agreed to some form of legal contract. And that's what marriage is. It's a legal contract. It's you somewhat signing yourself towards that other person. You're connecting to them in several ways, mostly gaining certain legal benefits, gaining financial stability. I really don't know all the backstory, but marriage isn't just a personal choice and something that you want to do. It has legal consequences. So in order to do it, you have to be able to consent to a contract. And if you're a child, you can't really do that. The real way this thought was implanted in my head was when I was watching the latest Polypop debate, which I'll link down below if you're curious. It was between Liberal Viewer and How the World Works. And at one point they were discussing this case where some region of New York said they were going to ban the sale of very large cola bottles. Like, you know, the 2-liter bottles. They're going to say you can't buy those anymore. You can buy smaller cups, but the big things you can't, for health reasons. And while I do agree that people going out just buying 2 liters and drinking them all themselves is a bad health decision, I would oppose that legislation because I feel that's personal liberty. That's consent. If somebody says, I want to buy a 10-liter bottle and drink that all at once, that's cool. But they sort of disagree because Liberal Viewer brought this notion in of regulating the sales of, say, Happy Meals, where, first off, the child isn't choosing it for themselves, the parent is choosing to buy it for the child. Also in that situation, there are certain coercion, like putting a toy in the child's meal, encouraging them to purchase it. Now, the hardcore social libertarian in this case might say that's still the decision. It's the decision of the child to want it, and it's the decision of the parent to purchase it. However, I don't think that consent can really apply when brought up to a child. With these matters of health regulations and what you sell to people, what junk food you sell to people, I feel like what you sell to adults is largely up to them. They're adults, they can make their own decisions. But when it comes to adults purchasing something to feed to their children, I think that's different. I don't think that consent can be applied in that same notion. So overall, I'd say I still stand by this notion that I was promoting, that consent is the ultimate point of what you can do. If every party involved consents, then it's okay. But the one exception is if it has children. And as to when you transition from being a child to an adult, that's really messy. Here in America, mostly it's 18. Some places it's 17 or 19, I believe. It's really messy, and that's a whole nother discussion. But overall, I'd say if you're adults, that's cool. You can do what you want. If it's children, not really. Children shouldn't be getting married to like 50-year-old men or, anything like that. There's a difference if you're a child. But when it comes to adults, I'd say that yes, consent is the ultimate point of governance. If you want to do it, you should be able to do it, so long as everybody involved consents.